I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
Violet Voss, thank you very much for joining us. Can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, obviously, my name is Violet Voss. I am a professional glamour and fetish model, as well as a pro dominatrix.
And what are your measurements, your stats?
My measurements and stats. I would say I'm 5'9" in height, about 135 pounds, and stats. I'm not sure what you mean by that.
What are your measurements?
Oh, all around. Oh my God. I've not measured myself in a minute. My waist would be 27 inches. Breasts, we're looking at 34 double D. That's cup size, and then 34 around there. And then hips are 34 inches, and that's all the measurements I know.
That's cool. How did you start in the industry?
Well, I started out modeling just as a hobby. I started with fashion modeling, and that quickly escalated into more glamour, like boudoir, lingerie. And then I kind of had the opportunity to start shooting for fetish producers. And so I went, from fashion glamour to fetish. And then I kind of realized early on that I really enjoyed the fetish work and, BDSM as a whole. So I decided to start creating some of my own fetish content, particularly in the female domination fetish. And then that escalated into me becoming a pro dominatrix and holding in-person sessions, as well as taking on virtual clients as well.
Okay. How did you create the name?
Honestly, I made a list just of about 20 different names, and I just came up with them all in my own head. And I went through the names and slowly started just axing off the ones I liked the least, and ended up with about 3 or 4 I really liked. And I just liked almost how Violet Voss was symmetrical. It was 2 V's. When I thought about it, I was like, I could create some really cool logos and marketing, and it's just easier to remember with the double V's. So that's how I selected that name.
And can you tell us about your first professional shoot?
Oh God, I have to think back into the archives. My first professional shoot would have been in the glamour world, just with a pro photographer in Dallas, Texas at the time, just shooting your typical boudoir, lingerie, high glamour, sexy kind of content. And then if we're talking about first shoot more on the adult side, oh God. I would have been doing a solo erotic, full masturbation clip, and it was for a smaller producer that was producing the stuff on their clip sites. And I can't even remember what their clip sites are called. I have yet to see those videos come out, so maybe they actually didn't get published, but that happens
Yeah.
too.
And can you tell us about your most recent shoot?
Most recent shoot. Let's see. Well, I just had a shoot, let's see, 2 days ago, and I was shooting for one of my new magazine covers that's coming out this month. That was part of the shoot, and then the other part, I brought in one of my submissives, and I did a bunch of like high glamour fashion promo kind of stuff for my dominatrix side, where I'm shooting with his submissive, and he's in a subservient position, and it just looks super cool. And those will be released sometime soon as well.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time?
5 years, I'll still be doing everything that I'm doing as far as modeling and being a dominatrix is concerned, but I feel like in 5 years there's a lot to still learn and grow from. I've only been in the industry for about 2 years now, so I'd really like to just continue to educate myself, on both sides of it, from modeling, getting better, if that, as far as that goes, it could be posing, lighting, learning things about the camera side of it, but also more on the BDSM and dominatrix side, just learning more about not only myself in the dominant position, but learning more of the psychological aspect as to why, people are interested and into the BDSM and those fetishes and kinks. And so I think I'd really just like to see myself learn and grow more as a person. I don't have a particular goal or aspiration that I want to accomplish, just more of a general thing.
What has shocked you the most since joining the adult industry?
Shocked me. Oh gosh. At first, I came from more of a traditional background growing up, so I think it was all just a shock. Seeing the porn side of it, and interacting with more of the adult entertainment stars, and seeing how that is all run and shot was a lot different than I had thought, but also the fetish side, my mind had opened up quite a bit. I didn't realize there were all these different types of fetishes and kinks and niches within the fetish world or BDSM world. And so just seeing everything for the first time at conventions and at shoots when I started was really amazing and kind of like almost like sticker shock almost, although now it seems just like normal things, all normal.
Okay. How long have you been doing like professional porn?
Professional porn, about 2 years. It was very quickly after I started in the glamour world that I started doing, porn. And I shoot only solo porn. I've done very light girl scenes, but nothing crazy.
What's your favorite sexual position on and off camera and why?
Hmm. On camera, when I was producing my own amateur boy-girl scenes, I really enjoyed writing, like either in reverse or, face to face, because I always felt like I could get some really solid, juicy camera angles in that position. And that was just, it's one of those positions in porn that just looks super sexy and hot. But off the camera, I would say doggy is my favorite. That is the position I can, most easily orgasm in. And so that's probably why. But something about having my ass in the air is hot. So
Are there any sex acts you haven't shot yet but want to?
no, because I'm not particularly in the porn scene as much as the fetish scene. So there's not really any, traditional porn scenes that I want to shoot. I mean, I think it would be fun to do some more like girl scenes for me, because everything I did was super light, but I would do it in the sense of where I was the top and the dominant, and it's kind of a role play, S&M scene.
Yeah. Which porn star do you most like to work with?
Hmm. There's a lot of great porn stars out there. It's a tough decision. One right now, I've been wanting to work with her ever since I met her, just because she's so hot and she's a MILF. Her name is Christina Carter. and she's just super fun, and I like all the different types of videos and clips that she creates, and I feel like that would just be hot.
What would you change about the adult industry?
Hmm. I would like to make it more socially acceptable and legal in the United States.
Has the stigma around the adult industry affected you?
It has, it's not something that I have shared with parts of my family, and just that whole stigma, and also friends. Just because certain people, like I said, would not be able to socially accept it as a career path. So that's the main stigma that's affected me around that.
What advice would you give to someone who wants to get into the adult industry?
I would say make sure it's something that you really want to do. And beyond that, make sure you have a really good support structure and a good head on your shoulders getting into it, because there are a lot of times where mental health can get really affected negatively being in the porn and adult industry. And so making sure that you have that support structure, whether it's friends, family, whether it's like your own personal belief system, something that you can fall back on, and just like really focusing on making sure that you have positive and good mental health before you get into it. Otherwise, it may not look so great for you in the long run.
Have you ever been grossed out during a shoot? And if so, how did you handle it?
I did. And during a shoot, if I'm grossed out, I will just cut the shoot. And it's happened in a few scenarios. If you're rude, if the producer or director, let's say, is rude or disrespectful, I will just leave, cut the shoot then and there. However, if they're respectful and understanding, we will just move on to the next scene.
Mhm. What hobbies and interests do you have outside of the industry?
I love to cook. That's one of my biggest passions, always learning and exploring new recipes. I also have a garden, and I'm really into gardening and just like maintaining my plants and flowers and seeing, that kind of life grow. And then probably my biggest hobby outside of work is boating. Um, I live in Florida near the water, so anytime I'm not working, I will be on my boat, granted that it's nice weather, or on the beach, and I just really love any like water activities.
Do you use sex toys? If so, which ones?
Oh God, yeah, I have a lot of sex toys. I mean, my OG favorite sex toy will always be a bullet vibrator. But some other fun ones that I really like to play with are dildos. Like recently got this crazy looking alien dildo that I have fun with. Um, and I find just like general kind of like fun, almost the cliche like BDSM toys, like furry handcuffs and you know kind of shitty rope or whatever, just like when I'm playing with my partner in the bedroom, is super fun and just gets me going.
To date, which porn scene are you most proud of and why?
I would say my shoot with Nubiles. It wasn't trying to think. I don't think there was a particular scene that we shot that I thought was better than the others. I was more so proud of myself for one, you know, getting the opportunity to shoot with that big of a production company and porn house, but also just it was a very quite prolonged shoot for shooting solo porn, and it was very back to back to back. I think it was, 6 hours, almost 10 scenes, so there wasn't a lot of time to break. And so for me, doing all the work, it was a little bit more challenging than I had anticipated, but I'm just proud of myself for making it through, and the content just looks amazing, and I'm very pleased with how it all turned out.
Do you watch porn? If so, what type?
I do. I am just a traditional, like, boy girl porn. Like, that is what will get me going the most. Anything, with role play, like I said, kind of like nurse or maid or schoolgirl or like anything like that. I'm personally not like really into the taboo stepmommy or any of that. But yeah, just traditional boy girl for me normally does it.
If you were directing a scene, what would the theme be about and who would feature?
But the theme would obviously have to be about BDSM, just because that's my main space. Um, I would definitely want at least one female submissive in the scene, and at this point, I'm not sure who exactly. I have to really do some thinking on that. But I think it would be fun to where I was being the dominatrix, also having a male dominatrix, and me kind of instructing him what to do to the female submissive, playing into that BDSM aspect, maybe tying her up to the bed, and then me telling him to fuck her and just kind of going all out with it. I think that could be hot.
If you were interviewing a porn star, what would you ask them?
Hmm. I always find it fun and interesting when you ask a porn star or just someone in this industry, kind of what their personal interests outside of work, and if they maintain that same kind of persona and personality in their personal lives as they do in their professional lives.
What really turns you on?
Hmm. Neck kisses.
Who would you like to nominate within the adult industry to answer these questions?
I mean, there's so many great people, but I think one in particular is a friend of mine, that is a goddess that is down in Austin. Actually, two of them, because they're both in Austin. One is goddess, or her name is Mistress Natalia, excuse me, and the other one is goddess Killian. They're both pro doms, also in the kind of general adult industry. I think that they would make a really great interview.
Sure. Violet Voss, thank you very much for doing the interview.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?